Alright guys, welcome to a new tutorial series. This tutorial is for Discord developers who are brand new. I stopped my other series which are really more based off of you already have knowledge of JavaScript and all of that. This video, we're going to do from the very beginning of the steps, assuming that you already have a Discord account. Now you may not have the Discord app, but you have a Discord account. You've been using it via a browser or via a phone. If you're using a phone, don't worry. If you're just getting into the computer side, don't worry. You will know. I'm using a VM for an example here, so I can have a fresh install without affecting my personal computer. I'm going to go ahead and set the VM. But you don't need a VM to do this. This is just basically for me so I can show you what each thing does. Now, you may notice it is full screen like it is for most of you. It's perfect for me. But this is a fresh install of Windows using a VM, so just keep that in mind. Now, we're in our computer. You don't know where to start. You just got on. You have a Discord account on your phone. You just don't know where to begin. Okay, it's fine. Nothing's installed yet. And if you come here to start menu, only thing that's installed is the bare bones of the system. And if I go down to task manager, it's still running at its base operating fees. Now yours would be lower most likely, but mine would be a little bit higher due to it being a VM. It doesn't have that much processing speed. If you actually had the performance, you can actually see that it's a virtual machine. And this is the specs of it, in case you're wondering. But anyways, we're going to head and get started by doing the first thing. Is we do not want to use Microsoft Edge all the time. So we're going to enter the browser. It may prompt you with some messages. Just answer them so you can get to downloading it. Pick your favorite browser and download it. There's plenty. If you don't know which one to do, I use Ep1 personally, which seems to be the best browser for me in this case. But you don't have to use Opera. You can actually use whatever you want. Then we can close out. You can delete this icon, but I'd prefer not to. But I will actually unpin it from the taskbar. I'm going to hit accept and install. I will hit accept and then let it install. Installing programs on an HDD though can take forever. But in this case, it did not. Now HDDs are slower. The funny part is this is actually running on an SSD, but marked as an SSD, so I have to fix that here. But if you're following along and you're using VirtualBox here to start your VM, you can simply change that by going into settings and fix that. I'll be right back once that's fixed. Alright, it's fixed and it's booting back up. So now what I did is changed it to mimic an SSD, which you can do from the hard drive side, but I wouldn't recommend it. If you have an SSD, basically VM's running on the SSD, you could tell it to tell the VM it's an SSD. Now Opera GX will automatically start up on boot, which is nice. Now if you go to Task Manager, go to Performance, you see it's SSD now. That is very important when you're doing stuff. Now, you may notice our Opera browser installation is messed up. We can delete it from there. Got it. And then from here, we're gonna say uninstall. There's no program there. So what we want to do is go back to Edge and just reinstall. But we don't have to. we actually have the installation files. If you go to downloads, we have the setup. Accept and accept. Alright. So now we're going to wait for it to install for the second time. Now, it shouldn't take long to install at all. But it can. Okay. There we go. We got Opera GX loaded and installed. We're just going to verify it is installed this time. There we go. So, we're not going to worry about that welcome message. We just want to be on this right here for the start. Next up, we can install Discord. By going to discord.com, make sure it is the 100% website before you hit download or log in. Now, real quick, I am going to log in. Okay. Now, you don't have to log in from the browser, but you will need to eventually, so I just went ahead and did that now. Also, this makes this next step easier. When you download Windows app, or Linux app, or whatever, it actually will open up a browser and see if you're signed in on that browser. If you are, it will take the sign-in settings from the browser and push it to the app. If you don't sign in on the app browser, let's find out who's have to sign in on the app. So we're going to download for Windows and install Discord. Once that is downloaded, we can run it and install it. And then you would want to create a server, by the way. That is very important. I'm not going to lead you to the steps on how to create a server because I already have one created for this tutorial series. But if you need more information, there's plenty of videos on YouTube for that. If you want me to do it, if you don't trust other YouTubers, just let me know down in the comments and I can lead you to the steps of making one. Now, some machines may freeze, and you may have to reboot them. The best I can think of is to check to make sure it's actually running, which is another option. If it freezes, is to reboot your computer. So I'm just going ahead and oops. Okay. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and save machine state here. I'm going to see if that works. What I'm doing is exiting out of the VM and re-entering it with the current state. This can happen either due to multiple reasons, such as out of storage issues, which I don't think I am. Okay. Then what I can do is come in here. Oh, my machine has to be completely shut down for that. So we'll see if this fixed it. If not, I have to give it some more cores. Now it's going to restore where I left off. Now your computer can't do this. So if you run into a freeze, you most likely are going to want to do is something called a it's completely frozen. So I'm going to have to force reboot it. You're going to have to reboot your computer like I'm doing the VM. Make sure your specs meet the requirements Windows. I know the RAM does. I'm just going to go ahead and give it 9 CPU power. It sounds like a lot, but go ahead and give it that. That should be mouse. Anyways, we're going to hit start. Go ahead and take 3. Now, I'm actually quite glad this happened. This can happen to anyone when you're downloading stuff for start. Windows 11 isn't the best operating system, in my opinion. The hardware requirements is crazy, plus it doesn't really work on VMs that well. Man, we already downloaded Discord, so we can hit download and hit setup. I'm actually going to head and delete those files. This is gonna reopen up again. Just let it. That's how Opera works. Now we're installing Discord here. It's just installing the updates. I think it installs basic and then we'll just update it. I'm not sure 100% sure how Discord does it. It's gonna ask for your browser. We're gonna hit Opera and hit always, or your browser and hit always. As you see, it's signing me in now because I was already signed in. I'm gonna immediately go to the tutorial server. This is the server that we have in place with a brand new bot. This bot is called Tutorial New. This is the bot we're gonna be coding up. I already have it invited to the server, but I'll show you how to invite it to a server. Next, you want to go to the developer panel. So just go just developers. Then it would be about here. You want to get to create a bot by clicking new application, filling out the information. I already have a bot created. You'd be right here. This is description is the about me, the name, the icon, and so forth, a bunch of information. It will tell you the server count, which is in one server. To auth generation right here, I just clicked bot and then administrator and copied the link and invited it. Bot here is where you're gonna get the token, but we're not gonna do that just yet. We're not ready. We still have to do a few more things. So we have tutorial new. We have the token, public bot. We're gonna make it a private bot though, so only we can invite it, but you can make it public. And then we only need the server member's intent for this tutorial. You can get the others now, but I'm doing what is easiest if you were to do a public bot. Alright. So now that we're set and it's invited, we're gonna stay on that page. We're gonna go to github.com. And we're gonna sign in or sign up. You're probably gonna be a new developer, and you're gonna want to sign up. But I'm gonna sign in real quick. The sign up process is pretty easy. I'll be back in a moment. Alright, now that I'm signed in, I will be good to go. Next, we want to do is hit. Actually, I think you can do it from here. Do they have a way to download it from here? No, they do not. Okay. So what we can do now is go to GitHub desktop, because you're gonna want this. This application, if you download it for Windows, is a very important application. And then you can close out of this tab since it's downloaded. We're gonna do it from the file system this time. It's apparently doing it to the browser crashes the OS for some reason on a VM, but you can technically download it from that tab. Right, you can also close out of GitHub. That is fine. So GitHub Desktop is going to install. Now again, applications take forever to install sometimes, but we're good here. We're going to sign into github.com. It will bring you back, since we signed in already, it's going to bring you right back to here. I'm going to quickly change that. And you'll be set to go. Now what you want to do is set up your repo. So we're going to create a new repo on your hard drive. We're going to call it Discord bot tutorial. Then we're going to initialize a readme and a git ignore. We're going to do node. It's very important to do git ignore. You don't have to do readme, you don't have to do licensing. And then you hit create repository. I unfortunately already have one here. If I go to GitHub and in that folder, you see it already knows it. I create branches. We create a branch with the episode number. I'm on episode 1, so I'm going to select episode. Well, version number or whatever you're doing, it's up to you. I'm not sure how other developers do it. I personally do it based on the versioning I'm working on or what I'm working on. depending on what I'm doing. If it's just a bug fix, I'll say fixes. If I'm doing entire version rewrite, I will do a version number. You can see it in Explore. Everything that you need and view on GitHub. But there's one button missing from this list that you may have noticed. And that is, how do you code this? Well, simple. First we want to download Git. Or not Git. You want to download for Windows and 64-bit or 32-bit, depending on what your system is. I'm unfortunately running a 64-bit operating system, so it's important that I download the right run. Go ahead and download that. Yes. Next. Install. I already have installed this many times, as I can say if we go through it. I would strongly recommend reading it first to make sure it doesn't change for you, because I'm not sure how it works for most users, but it should be the same processes as what I just did. Okay. Now that that's installed, I'm going to uncheck the review recentness and hit finish. Next up to install Visual Studio Code. This is what we'll be using to code the Discord. We're using Discord.js, so we're on with Visual Studio Code. Also, what you want to do is quickly go ahead and get Node.js and download the 18.17.0 or whatever the current latest version is. Do not do the latest features, do the one that says recommended for most users. Now, you may be wondering, which one should I install first? Node or Visual Studio Code? I strongly recommend Node. Let's kind of do Node first. It's kind of pretty easy. So next, I accept. Next. We are good here, so we're going to hit next. Automatically install necessary tools, which could take a moment, so just prepare yourselves. Next, and then install. Hit yes, and it will install. Now, this will actually take a good chunk of time to do, so just be prepared for that, as this part here will take forever. You're just going to hit enter until it finally starts the installation. While that installs, you can actually go ahead and install Visual Studio Code, because this can install in the background. I hit accept on the agreement. Next, create desktop icon and add these. Hit next and install. Now that we have that installing, I'll be right back when both are installed. Alright, both installations have finished. We're going to finish this installation here by hitting enter. That finishes Node.js. We can close that out. Visual Studio Code is installed. I do not want it to launch. I'm just going to hit close and finish. And I'm actually going to go ahead and close GitHub and reopen it. Oh yeah, also, I'm going to head over to the file system here. We're heading into the GitHub repo. There we go. Now you may notice a change in the file system. That is temporarily due to the fact that I put it on a local drive using a file share on a VM. But you guys won't have that issue. You can actually put it on a C drive. The only reason why I did that is because, obvious reasons, I only have 80 gigabytes on this machine. Where this has tons of space for the code to be stored. Anyways, we're going to head and reopen. We're going to head over to all apps and reopen the GitHub tab. You'll notice a brand new option is the open the repository in your external editor. We're going to click that. Believe it or not, we're actually set up. We have the bot and all that. Now let's set the bot to turn on, which we'll also do in this video. This video is a little bit long, I know. So, there's a few extensions you're gonna want to get. Discord.js. If you search that, get tools, snippets, and then the docs. The other extension you may want to get is a theme. I might use a theme called 90s anime here, and we're good. We're set. Now the setup of the respiratory. Now again, we're just getting the bot online, and that's it. So it's only going to be one file for now. So we're going to head into terminal, new terminal. I'm going to call npmi discord.js. And that's it. That's all we're installing at the moment in time. Also be a good idea now to also go ahead and do npm init -y. And as soon as you do that, a few new files will appear up. What we're going to do now is create a new file and call it index.js. Now this will be a temporary file until we officially make it. We're going to do let client, go to new, client, and select the client from discord.js. And we're also going to do intent within an array and add we want to add a gateway intent bit for, we're going to start with just guilds for now. Okay. Now what we're going to do is create the ready event. So we're going to do client.on ready. Oh, then we're going to just do nothing there. We're going to say console.log. The bot is online. Alright, we actually have to install one more thing. npmi .env. And then at the top here, we're going to do a simple require. And go ahead and require.env. And it simply add .config. That allows us to import our next step, which we need to do is create a .env file. That .env will be ignored. So what this does, if you go to GitHub, you'll notice .env is not in there. It's because if our git ignores .env by default, it actually ignores all of these files, so you don't have to panic about sharing passwords or anything. We're going to create a file called token and equal that. And we're going to paste the token there. So keep in mind, I will be resetting the token like I'm doing here. I'm going to get, right now it's reset, you get a token. This will be reset by the time you see this video. I'm going to copy it and then paste it. And then we'll go to index, undo client dot on, and that client dot log it, process to env token. Now, not everything's going to a .env file, but in this case, it will. Now you should be able to do node dot, and it should come online. If it does not, NC doesn't run, but it did, and it's online. So now that we have a bot that's online, the next few episodes we'll go over how we're gonna make this work. Not. So we're done with today's episode and changes. So we're gonna simulate a change. If you open desktop again, which seemed to have crashed, we're gonna give it. We're gonna impose a reason. Alright, and we commit, push to origin, and create a pull request here. It is able to merge, and then we create pull request. Add files, create pull request, and you can go ahead and have someone review your code. You cannot approve it yourself. So if you don't have anyone else to prove it, just you already know your code, so you can just go ahead and merge. And merge. Then you can go ahead and delete branch. And you're set. Your code will be inside the main branch now. And I'll tell you where it came from and all of that. But anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.